nothing else going on, you know.
I thought this was a panel about moons.
Moons, yeah.
Boy, are you in the right place.
We're all here to talk about Sailor Moon.
My servant is Moon.
All right, and did you all get a raffle ticket?
All right.
Okay. I printed out 100, and I don't think we have 100 people, so I might pull out some random blanks, but we'll see what happens. All right. So, I guess I can sit. Do we have another chair? Our number one student can stand. It's fun. All right. So, this is our Study in Type Moon Grail War panel. I guess we can give ourselves a brief introduction. My name is Amanda. My cosplay name is Kichara. I've been cosplaying and going to conventions for 12 years. And pretty much been doing nothing but fake cosplays for like the last 4.
My name's Graham. I am also a cosplayer, and I'm not a history nerd, but I play one on TV. So yeah, I liked getting into Type Moon because of its historical kind of sort of flavor. But yeah, so that's basically what the panel's going to be about. So happy to be here.
Okay. My name is Ariel. I've been cosplaying for 10 years next year, which is kind of ridiculous. I cosplay mostly Fate characters because I really like Fate. And that's basically me.
All right. Okay. So, and yeah, I don't know. That's Brian. He'll be Gilgamesh later. You can hear him coming.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and I guess just a quick heads up, because there's been a scheduling error, just everybody here is probably interested to know there is another Type Moon panel at Sunday. Wait, no?
Whoa,
There isn't?
They canned it.
Oh.
You guys are the only one.
Oh.
Carry the weights. Pressure.
I mean, if you want us to blab out about random like Type Moon stuff, we can.
Yeah, feel free to chime in.
Yeah.
We'll put about 100 chairs in the main lobby of the hotel,
All right,
and we'll have
so-
a panel out there.
I was honestly thinking about that. I'm not even lying.
All right, well, we were going to give you a PSA, but
It's okay, not really.
all right.
We appreciate it.
Oh,
It's very impressive.
It's right here.
how does this thing
Just
work?
hit the button.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about the basic rules of the Grail War. I can't really see it. Okay, sorry.
It's right here.
Shh. All right. So, yeah, you know, the Grail Wars were described as being canon. Apply pretty much to just Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, because there are a lot of exceptions, like Fate Extra, which doesn't really fit, or Fate Grand Order, which just does whatever the hell it wants.
And Apocrypha, which was kind of,
Yeah.
all kinds of servants all
Yeah.
over the place.
With
So
personalities.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, for the purposes of the panel, like we're going to be talking about historical characters and figures as servants, but we're going to try to stick as close as we can to like the canon sort of rules set up. So 7 classes, you get to choose a class and then pick a historical figure that you think would fit that class.
Yeah. Technically, like, a lot of the rules are that, you know, I think it's not supposed to be within the last 100 years.
Yeah, Nasu's written a couple times that he doesn't think anybody since the like dawn of the firearm age would be a good hero because it seems like less noble.
Yeah, although, you know, Archer just breaks that rule real hard.
Well,
So,
yeah,
you know.
he breaks pretty much every rule for
Yeah.
a variety of reasons. But yeah, so and then another one of Nasu's rules is basically that there's a huge focus on Western heroes because the Grail, as summoned in Type Moon's universe, is sort of a Christian religious element. And that's why so many of the heroes are like Greek or European or, you know, from the Western world.
Yeah. Like I said, like Fate Grand Order has changed a lot of that. I think that there are now more Japanese heroes.
Way more.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Also other.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, like some Chinese heroes have showed up.
Some of them are
and-
just really ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the impression I've
Yeah.
gotten.
Mary Antoinette is a writer class.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard that yet.
Do not get
Good.
started on that.
All right, and
Take over a panel.
And yeah, some of the other things that are needed for when you're summoning a servant would be your catalyst for that specific certain servant, which is something related to them, or it could just be that you have a similar personality that the Grail thinks works well for the servant, or both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right.
Sort of went into the Western heroes a little bit.
Yeah.
And then for timeline issues, I mean, has anyone here not seen or played Unlimited Blade Works? All right, cover your ears. All right, it's fine, it's fine. The rules get broken sometimes, but we're gonna try not to.
Yeah. And yeah, this happens, I guess, a lot in Figure Order, actually, because, a servant, or a heroic spirit can be summoned as a different servant because they often have, like, different attributes that would work. Like, Kukulin works as a lancer, or he is a caster. Arturia, Saber, she could also work as a rider because just has writing ability in her status. So I guess there's like a whole long list of this. Like I said, I haven't played Fate Grand Order yet, but...
Yeah, the butler has a question.
I think the best example of this is probably Berserker in Fate Zero, how he was not meant to be a Berserker, and they just kind of forced that on him, and that he would be applicable as many different kinds of servants, particularly a Saber. But
Yeah.
he's not meant to be a Berserker. They just the conditions are right for that.
Yeah. But I think it tends to happen a lot with Berserker characters, is that they can be a Berserker, but that's like they have other abilities, like Berserker from Fate Stay Night could have also been an archer or a saber, or I mean, he was pretty strong.
Yeah, and the other one that like I kind of silently have always wished would happen is Kukulin as a Berserker, because like there are a lot of records of him like just storming into battle, and like all sorts of weird transformational things happen to him. Like one eye gets like as big as a plate, the other one's like needle thin, and his hair stands up.
Oh, he would like had like records of just painting himself blue and running into battle.
He's pretty awesome, but my issue with that is he wouldn't be like as cool a character as he is.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is like in Fate Stay Night, he's like the one you want to be friends with, right? You know, you can't help but feel bad for him a little bit, but like, I don't know. Well, he was sort of a tragic character anyway.
He's the best bro in the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
I don't know. I'm dressing up as a Scander later today, so I gotta dispute that one.
I look forward to it.
All right.
You're great. We're gonna have fun. Mention the meetup, by the way.
Oh yeah. There is a meetup tonight for Type Moon cosplayers at 7.
7:30?
7:15.
I think it's 7:15. It's right in between.
Well, we'll clarify that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I set it up, so it should be 7:15.
Gosh.
Where is it going to be?
It's in the convention entrance area.
Sort of like if you take a right out of here, and there's that little foyer area with the checkered floor.
The stairs go down and then
Yeah.
flat and then back up to go to the walkway over to the other hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in that little flat walkway.
Yeah. We always said it looked a lot like the Tokyomi Mansion down there. So.
Yeah, marble floor.
Yeah.
People can take pictures from up above looking down. It'll be good.
All right.
All right. Okay. So every servant has things that they're defined by, which you can see if you're playing the visual novel. You just pull up the status screen. So there's just strength and energy, class abilities, their noble phantasm, or super weapon, whichever one you call it.
The big gun.
The big gun. Their alignment, and as we said, if there's a summoning catalyst. So these are all things that you would think about when you're creating, your character. Yeah.
Spoilers. All right. We sort of I guess you could say rolled a couple characters for the panel, just sort of as talking points. I don't know, you want to take this one?
Yeah.
He was yours?
Yeah, this one's mine. I actually did do a nerd Grail War with some friends, and this was the character that I picked, because they were like, okay, there's it's either archer or rider is open, and I was like, I'll pick a guy that could be either. So I went with Ivar the Boneless, who was badass Viking.
Yeah, who here watches that Viking show?
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He's actually in that show.
Yeah, he's. I haven't caught up on season 3 yet, but you just see him in there. So, which is something that actually could be interesting because every character, depending on how well they're known, is a stronger character in the war. So it's like he's actually shown up a lot in like pop culture lately. So I think it's kind of interesting that he would be stronger because of that, because it was like that, and the Descendants had a Viking song. They mentioned him in there.
Yeah. Well, and he's really popular in the metal, the death metal circuit. Too.
Yeah. So yeah, he was a leader in the Great Heathen Armies. And the legend is that he would be carried into battle on his shield by his other warriors. And the boneless thing is there's several different ways of interpreting it. Like there is no specifics, like this is why he's called that. So it could have been that his bones just broke a lot and that's why he got carried into battle on a shield, or he had like brittle bones disorder.
Yeah, while we were preparing for the panel, I read one account that he didn't have legs.
Yeah.
So obviously he's like a good rider because he has to ride everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly inconvenient.
Yeah.
Maybe he has an S range.
Kind of have to at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing was that he could have just been that he was very agile in battle, so
Too normal. I don't like it.
I did interpret that in mine. He sort of had like slippery skin, so things would sort of glance off of him. All right, yeah. So I made these.
What a lovely drawing.
Yes.
I'm starting to learn how to use digital drawing. I can draw well on paper, but yeah, I had drawn that because there's definitely no pictures or paintings or anything of him.
He's just gonna get impaled by like gay bull. Like
He may not have any bones. Like
Yeah.
like at least Lancer has 18.
So this is a good example of what you can kind of expect. So we put his alignment, sex, true name, and then the stats you try to keep balanced. I actually don't know. You did all the stats, and I just photoshopped it together. But like generally, because you don't want to have a broken character, you can't be good at everything.
Unless you're Gilgamesh.
unless you're that guy.
Unless you're,
Or Saber.
yeah. Well, that depends
Grail
on
War on-
that depends on the master.
Yeah, could be the Grail War on easy mode.
No, are you kidding me? Like she's got like what, an A rank in just strength alone? Come on, that's good enough. And her like noble phantasm, like at worst is like maybe a B, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
All right.
All right, and then the other character I decided to put together was Shahrazad as a caster. She was the teller of 1001 Arabian Nights, and the story was that,
She was to be put to death.
Yeah.
And she delayed her own death by telling the 1001 Arabian Nights tales. Over the course of, surprise, 1001 Arabian Nights. And by the end of those 1,000 nights, the king fell in love with her and made her the queen.
yeah. So we actually had a pretty interesting way of interpreting her noble phantasm then, which was that she can like summon familiars, and it's sort of she has a self noble phantasm where she will sacrifice those to delay her own death.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting that all of us that volunteered servants for this panel unknowingly chose writers and casters.
Yeah, I guess those are just the funnest to make.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that says about us, but I chose Nikola Tesla as my caster. He was a electrical and mechanical engineer, early 20th century. If you've been on the internet in like the last 5 years, you've probably heard of him. I had I really liked the idea of using him because he had like this death ray that he supposedly built that fires like high energy tungsten particles, and he tested it and it can shoot a plane down from 200 miles away, but he never released the plans for it to the public and said he destroyed them. He was also really crazy later in life, so I don't know how true any of that is, but it was sort of fun to think about him as a caster, lately the Fate franchise has sort of included a lot of creators as casters. You know, Shakespeare. Who's the other one? Yeah, Mozart was another one. Hans Christian Andersen, really?
Yeah.
He's a caster.
Wow.
Of course he's a little boy.
Yeah, with a really deep voice.
Okay.
Yeah, I that is another thing to mention when you're creating your character, and that, like, you know, oh, it's a guy, but I want a girl character. That's fine. Just turn it into that. That makes sense. So.
For all the rules there are, that one gets bent quite a bit.
Yeah, you might say it's gender bent quite a bit.
All right.
I got that reference.
Zilla is also a girl in Granddaughter too.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Other writer, my writer
Your
was
writer.
was solid in. He was the defender of Syria and the Levant during the Third Crusade. He was just a pretty well-liked guy among his friends and his enemies. He also had a notable cavalry, so hence writer. And he was really well known for, you know, being friends and enemies. I guess the young people are saying frenemies now with Richard the Lionheart. I didn't include it on the slide, but I thought it'd be really interesting to include him in a Grail War too, because he actually led a siege on Almasyaf, which, if you've played any Assassin's Creed game, you know that's where, you know, the assassins were from. So, you know, that Hassan guy that's in a lot of Fate stuff, you know, would have known him. I think that's pretty cool. I made up a stats page. I think his are mostly like straight from the standard ranked stuff for writer class, but I couldn't really think of a good Noble Phantasm since he isn't really known for any particular weapon. I did think about including the Damascene steel into it somehow, but it's whatever. All right, and then the next ones are the ones Brian came up with.
Not a surprise if you know me. So I chose Hephaestus as caster. Hephaestus was the Greek god of the forge, blacksmithing, equivalent to Vulcan in Roman mythology. It's might be sort of breaking the rules because you're not supposed to be able to summon pure gods, but Hephaestus was actually cast out of Olympus and raised on an island, and he was deformed, like he had one gimp legs, and then he was welcomed back into Olympus later. So maybe god, maybe half god, we don't really know. So I feel he sort of skirts the rules a little bit on that.
You just really wanted a blacksmith.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yes.
But he was known for crafting all of the thrones for the gods, all of the weapons, Zeus's lightning bolts, Hermes' sandals. You want to skip it? Oh yeah, I can skip.
Yeah.
You're the power.
Nope. So I thought for his abilities, because he also crafted a lot of automatons to help him in his blacksmithing. So I felt that would be good for his abilities. He could summon familiars in the form of automatons and equip them with magical items. And he could also equip his master with magical items because he crafted things like Achilles' armor, Agamemnon's staff. So he crafted weapons that could be used by mortals as well as magical creations. And that was his Noble Phantasm that I came up with, right? He could just summon a small enclave of automatons to defend himself, since he does have a gimp leg. He's not exactly a fighter. He's a crafter. And then I didn't like the lack of, I feel that early American history is a really good drawing point for servants, and there's just not a lot of them. If any, are there any in Grand Order? No?
Well, there's like from the West, there's Billy the Kid and Calamity Jane.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the Revolutionary War time period.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of who, like, founding fathers sort of thing would work, and it's really hard to pin down something and assign him to a class, but Paul Revere was easy. But of course, everybody knows the legend that he rode throughout the night to warn that the British were coming. So
he never actually said that. Yeah. No, it was the regulars are coming, because that's what they call the British Army.
He actually finished the flag. he actually broke his leg a little bit.
Yeah.
And then his other friend was like, all right, just go on without me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just go on with this. You guys are ready to go.
And because his legend is so well known, he gets sort of a power boost from that. But I figured his noble phantasm wouldn't be directly combat related, it would be clairvoyance related. He'd be able to tell enemy movements and use that to his advantage.
Also like to point out that this picture of him looks really funny. Like this is like, I guess the only, it's like the only portrait that was made of him. So when I Googled it, it was that, and then it would sometimes also be flipped. So it'd be like that, and then be like that. And I was like, this
He's just like dancing.
yeah, I was like, I don't know why this is a really funny looking photo.
He looks like Mark
17th century
Wahlberg.
Vogue.
Yeah, it's just not a flattering portrait. All right, and
Maybe that's why he didn't get any more done.
yeah, maybe he was just ugly. I don't know. I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So I guess who has? So who walked in after? We have some raffle tickets. I know I saw like Chrysalis and Discord popped in. Yeah. Go on, number one student.
Yeah.
All
You're gonna
right.
need to raise your hands again.
Yeah. Go ahead and raise your hand so Ilya can give you a ticket.
That was a bad idea.
All right, so, yeah, so I guess who has some really cool servant ideas?
Custer? General Custer?
General Custer.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
What's his noble phantasm?
Good question.
Genocide killed.
Murder everything in your path.
Immediate loss.
All right.
But yeah.
All right. I also agree, and I've been actually very adamant that there should be some American revolutionary servants as well. So I've always been a proponent of George Washington.
Okay.
If anything, for his God mode luck stack. And
Yeah.
Oh! Good.
Yeah, that's
luckiest
good.
general in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. And Noble Phantasm is literally the eject button. If you did not know, he was able to mobilize and move out an entire infantry of artillery and get it out in the middle of the night without the British knowing in one night.
He won the Revolutionary War by retreating faster than the British could beat him.
Yes. He was able to get out without very many men dying. So basically it's just like, oh crap, we're actually losing. Bye! And then you leave.
Well, that's like an easy presence concealment stat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like it's also like having the American heroes is good because they're all fairly recent, so it'd be pretty easy to get catalysts for all them.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Revere was a brightsmith, and you can just see his silverwork in museums and places. So if you break in and steal it, you know, and you're a magician or a
Yeah.
mage, then, you know.
Yeah. Back there.
Achilles as a lancer, and his noble phantasm would be his armor.
Okay. Oh, right, because Achilles had the,
He's from a god, so probably have get stronger for every hit, or cover more body, or grow longer to defend, or something like that. This is he's just a fantastic war, I suppose. I mean, he's good at a lot of things. Not really one area he's specifically good at, but as a lancer, he's known for being a very good lancer, and he knew everything else just as well. But lancer only needs to teach his students first before they learn some of their other weapons. So.
you know, I kind of like the idea of Achilles too, because like his magic circuit could be placed like in his ankle, right? Or you could have a crest there or something.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would a pirate captain be a good,
Rider? Yes.
Yes.
well, Ching Shi?
Xing Shi.
The Chinese explorer, right?
Yeah.
She commanded over 300 junks manned by 20 to 40,000 pirates.
No, she's already a servant.
She is?
In Grand Order, I think she is.
Yeah, there have been.
I was gonna
They added
say.
a lot of pirates in Grand Order.
Yeah. They also.
So yes, it would be a good servant apparently.
Blackbeard's in Grand Order?
Yeah.
He's the writer.
I think he should be a berserker.
We're gonna check to see if she's already good.
Yeah. Yeah. With Grand Order, it's just crazy how many they
Discord's
have.
haven't seen it for a while.
Yeah. Discord.
I would say go to comment for his legend at starting the Shaolin faith being called essentially is Noble Phantasm would be the dragon-shaped cauldron that was kept in the northern Shaolin temple that was used to bar the hands of the monks. Essentially, his Noble Phantasm would be summoned, and when within its radius, his physical and magical prowess would be partially given to his master. The longer you stand within the radius of the cauldron, the more his teachings sink in, and the stronger the physical aspects gain, and the less magic you earn off of it. His primary weapon would be based on his lore that he sat in a cave, I believe, for 10 years, and physically stared a hole in the wall in front of him.
Yeah, intense concentration.
He would have overpoweringly strong archery abilities that come with a really long light gun. And
Okay.
physical prowess to back it up, as nameless archer did stay high.
Interesting. That was well put together.
Yeah, very
Thank you for that.
I say you did. Yeah. Like, did you just come up with that, or did you think about that ahead of time? Because that's excellent.
I knew that I liked him as an archer, and I know that I liked the White Death, the sniper. I liked him as
Simo Hea from the Winter Wars?
I
Yeah.
very much like him as an assassin, even though he fits the long-range archery class. These rumors of him and his massive body count came from the fact that he would just ninja away from the shooting range.
I say that was almost your other pick, wasn't it?
Well, that's traditionally been Eric's pick. We have this conversation during road trips all the time about what servant do you want, you know? And that's like our friend Eric's #1 pick is Simo Hea as an archer. Like,
I'd love to be able to stand somewhere and launch mid-range magic at the other master and a snowstorm kick up at my feet and suck me away.
Yeah.
But I really just kind of, I knew I liked him and I kind of came up with his Noble Phantasm as I was talking.
yeah. No, he's an easy one to figure out.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes. Yeah.
Beowulf has a saber, and his Noble Phantasm would be his swords, but every time he used one, his Noble Phantasm, they would break, because that would happen to Beowulf all the time.
All the time.
He'd swing his sword and it would break because of how strong he was. Also, he's known for killing a dragon, so he would actually have advantage in Arturia.
Well, yeah, I mean, not just the dragon, but, you know, I mean, I would argue that Grendel and Grendel's mother probably were ranked as some sort of magical creature.
Yeah.
So,
Just general magic creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably have a very high, like, magic resistance.
yeah, so, yeah, he could be like a really similar character to like Siegfried or something. Like, that would be really neat.
Archer.
Oh, wait, hang on. Do
Wait.
you mind if we get to the guy in the back first?
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to think we can't
Sorry.
see him.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I was thinking Scipio Emilianus, the guy who destroyed Carthage.
Right.
Maybe a saber, and maybe his Noble Phantasm would be some sort of, I don't like Excalibur, but it'd be like salted, the cold soul like salting the earth or something. It just destroys everything completely and utterly forever and ever for like long periods of time.
Yeah, because his tactics included, for those of you who don't know, completely ravaging the fields and villages so that nobody could live there anymore. Like, it wasn't just a partial victory he was after. He was literally salting the earth and making it so that nobody could live there. Mean stuff.
It'd be like territory creation.
Oh yeah, it would be territory creation,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
I've always talked about this before, that I feel like it's kind of a shame that, being that, you know, it's made in Japan, that there's not more Japanese historical heroes that are in the Fate universe, but it is nice that they're adapting from other cultures. But I feel like it's a shame there's not more people from like the Sengoku era, because almost everyone there is an influential person and has like a significant history behind them. But I think if I were to pick like one person, just from, I have no idea what their powers would be, but like from a historical standpoint, from a storyline standpoint, Saint Francis Xavier, who was actually from Spain. He was like a Christian like missionary, one of the first Christian missionaries to go to Japan. And apparently there was like a big conflict with him, killed a bunch of people, bad times. But I have no idea what his powers would be, but he could be like an archer or a rider.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's sort of a revered figure in Japan now. So, like, you know, you'd be extremely well known. I think whatever he wound up doing, you'd be pretty good at.
One person way back there.
Yes.
I thought it was female. I think Monomori would make a really good assassin.
Well, so did the creators of Fate Grand Order, incidentally. Yeah. No, like the
That's good.
They still
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
it's
your
not
idea
good.
is now canon. Good
Yeah.
job. It's not something many of us can say.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 words. Chuck Norris.
Oh God. Okay. We said we would open it up towards the